Hello, dear friends. Here we are. One more day, wisdom for the Spiritist Practitioner, based on the book Educandário de Luz. Yes, Educandário de Luz is a book in Portuguese, a collection of Spiritist articles from several spirits brought through Chico Xavier to us as Spiritist practitioners. And you're welcome to join us tonight. We have with us Emmanuel, the very mentor of the medium Chico Xavier. He comes to talk about another aspect of this ensemble. Yes, the Spiritist practitioner group. It's not a given, as previous messages have already said. When we get to the Spiritist Center, we have a different association. We have a different group, a group that is united with unprecedented proposal of charity, love, service, and self-illumination as well. It's not simple, but you're invited to join us. This proposal tonight is really to fine-tune what we are doing in a Spiritist group. Do you participate in a group? If you do, you can ask questions here. We're open for questions during our program here. That's why we do live. And questions that pertain to the study, right? That's what we do. No matter where you are in the world, Kardec Radio is with you, and we're making these studies available to make sure that people around the world have instructions on how to put together their Spiritist groups, their Spiritist centers. To be a Spiritist worker, a Spiritist practitioner, is not simple. You know why? First, because you need to be willing to do it. Tonight we were doing the Gospel at Home, the God at Home, and we read in chapter 122 of the book Living Spring by Emmanuel that a key for everything is, what is the key? I'm just fixing here. All right. We hope it's better, Carol Correa and Aldilson. Let us know, okay, if it's better. So we are here learning about the key word to these operations, goodwill. But do you volunteer to be a Spiritist practitioner because you want to feel better about yourself? Is that the only reason? Because if it is, we will fail. Because the sole reason of doing this work is not only our own betterment. It's because we are compassionate and altruistic, and we're prioritizing the needs of others before our own. That is a very, very high concept, okay? It's a very difficult and high concept. Let me just double check here. Yeah, forgive us, friends, if there is some noise here through the app, but we'll fix it sooner than later. But we want to share with you that a Spiritist practitioner needs to be motivated by reaching out to others. So when you go to a Spiritist center, do you think about your own needs as a practitioner, or do you go there prepared to reach out to others, including your colleagues? Good question, huh? Right? So here we have it, Educandário de Luz, and this message today by Emmanuel is titled Conjunto, Ensemble, and you're invited to join us. You can ask questions. Anything that pertains to the topic will be exchanged here, okay? So, Lívia Moraes, thank you for being with us. Rihanna, Rafael Medeiros, Beautiful Sunshine, Adilson, Ana Mércia. Thank you, Rafael, for being from Brazil. Anna Bloomfield. I'm not so sure where you can click the translation, but maybe our friends who are with us can help you out. Leia Severo, it's good to see you here after the storm and knowing that you are literally, you are a winner and we are the winners with you. Thank you. Clara Simões, Teresa Castro, what a night today, yes, huh? It was such a joy to be with you. Michele Silva, thank you so much. Today, our beautiful Karina from Santo André, Brazil, took pictures of the packages of books that they are sending to the campaign of books in the Spiritist Center in Brazil that is turning 100 years. You can collaborate with the very campaign by donating Spiritist books in Portuguese. And we got a message also from Michelle Nall, who is, she also made, she bought some books and sent it to the center. So thank you, thank you, thank you. The campaign is ongoing, more to come. Hello, Marina, Clark, hello, Rudy, present to awaken the spirit. We do too. Ready? Okay, I'm gonna read to you the message by Emmanuel. Soon after, we're gonna make comments. Maybe we make comments as we go, okay? The message is titled Ensemble by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. He quotes two passages. Father, I want those you have given to me to be with me where I am. Jesus in John 17:24. And from the Gospel according to Spiritism, build up your phalanx of resolution and courage. Get to work. The plow is ready. The earth awaits. Plow. Chapter 20, item 40. What is this about? That's for the Spiritist Practitioner. So Emmanuel breaks it down in the following manner. In a Christian Spiritist temple, it is reasonable to note that all work is a joint action. Each companion is appointed to a specific task. Each one acquires the feature of a particular part in the workings of the service, and the mechanisms of the good, in which the mechanisms of the good do not function in harmony without whose cooperation. So here I'll break it down for us right away. He quotes saying that the Spiritist temple, why does Emmanuel call it a temple? Because it's sacred. It is a temple of the soul where we cherish these teachings. We really need to be reverent. Sometimes we're so caught up with the external. I remember somebody getting into some of our centers and saying, oh, but it's not like golden, like a church. Thank God it's not. You know why? Because it wouldn't make sense. The day we put gold in our Spiritist centers, we're in trouble. Because that's not simplicity. That's not simplicity. We don't want to judge the churches, because probably we were the ones who created those habits in the past, but no longer. That doesn't serve a purpose anymore. We don't need a fancy place. We don't need somebody to dress up in a specific habit to respect the person. If we do, we need to read these books. When we need the external to feel something inside of us, we need to read more and study more of Spiritism. Because it's been 2,000 years that Jesus not only said, but he exemplified, no temple of stone, no specific clothing, no specific ordinance. No, we're not ordained ministers. It's a completely different setting. Simple, heartfelt, in which we are called to serve, and that's it. Share what we know. Reach out to those who are suffering more than we are. Okay? Okay. So here we have it. All right? Here we have it. The opportunity of being together. He says, indispensable to erase ourselves from the brilliance. It is indispensable to erase ourselves or to forget about shining ourselves above the work. So it's not personal. You know how you can begin it? It's very interesting. Recently, even Mentor Joseph, he recommended something quite unique. Get rid of the names of the speakers who are speaking each week. In the sense of like, when you announce, it doesn't matter who's going to give a talk. In the center, everyone who works is reliable. People should not come because this person is here or that person is there. And when we did it, it changed a whole lot of things in our center. We can feel it. Because now people don't know who is going to give a talk. If you don't come, you may miss it. That's what we're doing in the center. It doesn't matter if it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. No, it's not for Virginia. I'm just joking with you. It's a serious thing, but it doesn't matter whose talk it is. Now we need to go back to simplicity. Of course, when you do events, you announce because people who don't know may come because of this, that, and the other. But in our daily centers, it doesn't matter. That's an interesting practice, something to think about. Right, Angelita, and John Da Rosa, and Anna Paula Kane, how are you? Adan, how are you, my friend? Denise, thank you for being with us and your kindness too. So Emmanuel is saying we need to not let ourselves shine above the works. If it's Vanessa, Mary, Joseph, John, Paul, Peter, James, doesn't matter. What matters is that the work is being done. And Emmanuel says more. In the application of electricity, a variety of implements are assembled, but above all else, the production of force is the concern. Is the concern. In the use of force, the power plant is a spectacle of grandeur, but it won't work without the single outlet. So he's talking about the lamp and the outlet. Who is more important? Which one is more important? Both? Oh, but the lamp is the one that shines, through which shines the light. But if you don't plug in the outlet, it's not going to work. So in each role, everyone is important. It's necessary, therefore, to recognize for ourselves what is essential to do for the worthy performance of the general activity. By guiding or collaborating on certain occasions, the most important achievement that we're asked to do is the temperament, forgive me here, there is a word that is missing. It is the enlightenment of kindness or the patience and clear indication of the truth to the spirit of the least awakened or worker in the spiritual edification. At other times, the most valuable obligation that circumstance asks of us is the understanding with a child, a fraternal conversation with a sick person, the cleaning of a furniture, of a piece of furniture, or carrying a small burden. So Emmanuel is clearly telling us that it doesn't matter if we're coordinating or collaborating, that sometimes cleaning is as important as talking to a child, as talking to somebody who is sick. It's all valuable, all valuable. Remember, when you go to a Spiritist center asking for help, whomever comes and talks to you becomes your saving grace. So we need to put ourselves in the shoes of others, okay? It is very important. Right, Nico? Right, Sylvia? Thank you, Lea Severo. So, administering by supporting and obeying. Okay, let me go back here. It's essential to perform similar tasks without spilling the acid of complaint and without the souring the feelings in systematic aversion. To annoy someone in the exercise of the good works is to stuff bread with ashes. Administering by support and obeying, doing our best. Let's rewind the tape here. What is Emmanuel telling us? That whether we're guiding the group or collaborating with the guidance of the group, we're being asked to avoid complaints. You know, people like this. Oh, but did you see? The projector's not working. The light's not working. This floor is so hard to clean. These chairs are so annoying. These are things, he says, we should avoid. Or even systematic aversion against others and the setting. I remember once we were in a work helping the homeless. And the group that was coordinating the homeless work had very old tables, chairs, etc. And I remember some people coming to me and saying, oh, but it's so dirty. Oh, and I talked to Mentor Joseph, he said, Vanessa, if we don't think this is appropriate, people should donate to help out. It's easy to complain and do nothing. If you think there's something that is in need of adjustment in your center, talk to the president of your center. Chico Xavier, I remember Raul Teixeira visiting us in Baltimore. And I asked him once, Raul, you know, for those who don't know, Raul Teixeira is one of the well-known mediums in Spiritism in Brazil and the world. He had a stroke back in 2012, but he's back in action. He's really an inspiration. And I remember once asking him, Raul, tell me one thing. You've come to know Chico Xavier quite a lot. Were there times in which you saw him angry? And he said, Vanessa, I saw him angry this one time. And I said, what happened? He said, I was walking through the Spiritist Center with him, and he saw a man coming out of the Spiritist Center, an incarnated man, with a bucket of paint and a brush. And he came to Chico saying, Chico, I just finished painting the center. And Chico was surprised, saying, painting? What do you mean painting? Yeah, I just painted it. I felt like it needed to be painted. So I went there and painted. Raul Teixeira said, Vanessa, I've never seen Chico Xavier so mad. He was so upset that he looked at this man and said, you never, ever, ever again do anything in this center without asking for permission. Because this center has order, and we don't even take a chair from its position if we don't ask those who are in charge of the center. You never do that again. That's Chico Xavier. What does that tell us? Order. Order is the basis of charity. There are many people who come to our centers and they're like, oh, I wish this, I wish that. Oh, I can teach you this, teach you. Thank you very much. But you know, this center has order. The spirit mentors and us. And then people will come. If they want to join forces, they need first to ask, what do the spirit mentors want? What do they want? What do they want? I don't know. We need to ask. What do they need us to do? Right, and Augusta and Luis Hu, how are you, friends? Luis Velasquez and Karina. So, it's very important that we don't annoy someone in the exercise of good works, because it's stuffing bread with ashes. That doesn't taste good, does it? Bread with ashes? Ew! I don't want that. Do you? No. So we need to ask ourselves. Emmanuel is telling us straightforward, we do not change anything without asking. The ones who are in charge of a Spiritist center, they know better. And if we don't agree with them, you know what Mentor Joseph always reminds us? There's always a need to form more centers. Because small centers are better than large centers. They are more homogeneous, more harmonious. Chico Xavier was never allowed to create a mega Spiritist center. Have you ever thought about it? No? Think about it. He was never allowed. Why? Because if you do it, you miss the feeling, that togetherness, the feeling of that Christianity at Jesus' time, at the first apostles and disciples, when everything was so close together. It's very important. Kardec mentions that in the Medium's book. And in a previous message by Emmanuel, he talked about excessive human material creating dissensions. And what did he mean? Too many people. Not good. A harmonious center, we don't have many heads. That doesn't exist. That's only Greek mythology. Many heads. It doesn't go far. A center has only one head. From the spirits to the coordinator to the team together. Each in different role. The coach and the team. That's how it works. And he's saying here to us, supporting and obeying. Supporting and obeying. I think obedience is a forgotten word nowadays in this world. People talk about obedience, they think about the Second World War, negative things. You see how the forces of darkness are cruel? They want us to twist the most beautiful things. Obedience is beautiful. We're talking about obeying the good. Not obeying anything, but obeying the good. So we really need to feel obedience towards God, which is the consent of reasoning. In our studies here, we study new books, but we go always back to the basic works that are in English. Kardec, André Luiz, Emmanuel. Why? Because those are works that are foundational for us. And in the Gospel according to Spiritism, it says, one of the laws of life is to obey God. But on earth, we forgot about obedience. So that's why in a center, it's pretty hard to have people feeling proud of themselves of obeying an order. But it's a beautiful practice. That's homework for us. Obedience. I have been traveling in the United States and I came across a crazy idea, okay? Crazy idea. I've come to know. People who are telling me about democracy in Spiritist centers and telling me that one president cannot actually do the deal in a center, that they need several directors to actually coordinate a center. I've never seen that in my life working well. Psychologically, it's against the nature of human beings. It doesn't work. We have this inbuilt system in which we work well with one direction, not multiple directions. And democracy, I don't think it's a word that is even spelled in Spiritism. And I'm not saying that there is dictatorship, but there is what we call spiritual aristocracy. Says André Luiz in his books, what is spiritual aristocracy? Is when we trust those who have taken specific tasks, and especially the good spirits and those who came before us, and they are leading us towards the fulfillment of God's will in the center. This thing about many people, should we do a fundraising and then we do a meeting? 10 people, 20 people are going to decide. Oh, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then the financial needs are passed. Should we do an outreach to help the homeless? Another meeting. And it's such a complicated organization. And I remember Divaldo Franco showing to me how he administers the Mansion of the Way. In 2007, December 2007, he said, Vanessa, I avoid these administrative meetings because they are opportunities for the spirits to really create dissensions. I create a dynamic that is more fluid. So people would come, talk to him, the directors, and they would arrange director by director with the president at that time, who was Divaldo. Nowadays it changed, but that's how it works. Good Spiritist centers must have a strong Spiritist president, not disregarding the directors, but the directors are working together with the president. But the role of the president is unique, not because it's more unique in the sense of responsibility. The president of the center is the first one to give the example. Leon Denis says in one of his books, In the Invisible, not yet in English, has to have all these qualities to withstand the tasks. It's not easy. And the first thing we can do, as Emmanuel is saying, collaborating. Rafael, you're in São Paulo talking about the center, Perseverança. I've seen it in pictures, in videos. I know it's huge, and I don't know what to say. I have no formed opinion. I've never been there. But you know, I go always by Kardec, Rafael. If Kardec and Chico Xavier always mention about the importance of keeping things to a certain limit, I prefer to believe with my reasoning, vouching for it, that Kardec knew what he was talking about, and Chico Xavier as well. As a psychologist, I would say it makes sense that it is easier to create a homogeneous atmosphere in a small group of people. When we become too big, I mean, our services can be reaching out to many people, but the inner, the core of its administration has to be very cohesive. That's the message of yesterday, the group, in a group, by Albino Teixeira. In everything, he says, Emmanuel, we need to understand that the most effective way to ask is to work, and that the most just process to recommend is to do what we need to do, but working and doing without sadness and rebellion, understanding that improvements and providence are precious resources for ourselves. In all good businesses, we are natural complements to one another. The universe is sustained in the basis of teamwork. A constellation is the family of suns. An atom is an aggregate of particles. Let no one seek for unjustifiable spotlight. Let no one seek for unjustifiable spotlight. Chico Xavier never asked to be in the spotlight. He always allowed everyone to work together, but he also needed to do his part. But he didn't put himself in the spotlight. Naturally, the fulfillment of his tasks, encompassed some form of highlight, but it was not imposed from him to the work. It was actually a natural consequence of the fulfillment of his task. Emmanuel finalizes this message by saying, either directing or being directed. It suffices to us the privilege of fulfilling the duty that life signals to us, discerning and elucidating, but always helping and loving. The heart, the motor of organic life, works hidden, works inside of us, and God, that is for us the divine anonymous, palpitates in every being without ever individualizing himself in the light of the good. So Emmanuel finalizes by saying that it should be sufficient for us the privilege of fulfilling our duty. Wow, this expression is so wise. The privilege of fulfilling our duty. You know what that means, friends? Because I see many presidents of centers or directors who tiptoe around the practitioners, afraid of asking them to join forces and help, or tiptoeing because they feel the need of praising the group all the time. No, 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 no. They are not working for you. They are not working for me. They have the privilege of fulfilling that duty directly with God. You don't need to thank them. People don't need to thank me either. Because in the fulfillment of the duty, I find my inner reward. There is no such thing as the need of this praise system. And when we see too much praise, remember Casimiro Cunha saying, where there's too much flattery, praise, be careful. There is a moving sand that is going to suck us in. It's not good. It's not good. In a true Spiritist center that is serious and committed, we all feel the privilege of fulfilling our duty, no matter which duty that is, from cleaning to giving talks, to cooking, to helping with the children, to assisting people who are sick, doing the website, email. There is a privilege in doing that. And the reward is intrinsic. If you're the coordinator of a group, remind everybody, you're not working for me. We are working together with Jesus. We're working together for God, with God, to God. Because God is so good. So good, so good, so good. He gives us so much, so much, so much that we cannot expect praises. Because we're still indebted. We'll forever be with God. Indebted in the sense of we can't expect people to praise us. We don't need it. We feel the fulfillment of our duty, the privilege, as our dear Emmanuel is saying to us. Discerning and elucidating, helping and loving. You see, in these two words, discerning and elucidating, it's all about the cognitive, and helping and loving, it's also about the feeling. So it's this right and left hemispheres, these functions that are integrated inside of us when we do Spiritist works. As a neuroscientist, I see Spiritism in its practice a beautiful way to boost our brain. As we work in Spiritism, we're boosting our discernment, but we are also boosting our emotional intelligence, our spiritual intelligence. So working in Spiritism is so rewarding, physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, that by itself we don't need to be praised. We don't need to expect people to say, oh, wonderful works you're doing. That doesn't matter. We appreciate when people say it, but if you are president of a center or a director, be kind to the people who work in the center with you. But remember, they are not working for you. You're working together. They're working with you, not for you, so you don't owe to anybody anything. I remember once friends in our center were saying, okay, boss. And I was like, boss? I'm not a boss. Not here. And even in my profession, people don't call me that. We always have a friendly approach. What is this? No, there's no boss. The only boss is God. Jesus is our master. The president of a center is a collaborator with the team. We're working together. Right, Daniela Oliveira? Right, Rafaela Soriano, how are you? So friends, Emmanuel is asking us tonight to think about this teamwork effort. He's saying here to us, everything in the universe works in a teamwork fashion. We cannot ask for special spotlight on us, no matter our task in the center. We need, like a coach, the coach and the team, different roles, but we're working together, functioning together, and together attending to the will of God. Because remember, God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to us. We owe our lives to God. We owe our Spiritist teachings to God. Right, Teresa Castro? God is so good. He's so good to me. God is so good to me. God is so good to us, giving us daily opportunities, And the Spiritist Center is the opportunity to work together for God and to God without any need to be praised or to praise, but to support one another in love, light, and cooperation. Friends, this is it for today. Who is going to be the teacher tomorrow? Emmanuel again. He's going to talk about the Spiritist harvest in the book Educandário de Luz. And just as a teaser for you, he says, Spiritism, okay? He says, if the superior plane has already allowed you to step into the Spiritist harvest, do not limit yourself to prayers. He's calling us to action. Let's wait and see. Right, Rafael and Teresa Castro? Sunshine. Big kiss and hug of gratitude. Let's meditate and do our homework. Meditate about these teachings and how much more we can do to help the sharing of these teachings in the world. Thank you, friends. Until tomorrow.